The game's afoot once again. Enola Holmes 2! Checked this out once it came out, and short version, it's a good time, which I think is about how I felt about the first one as well. Funny thing is, I actually don't remember a heck of a lot of the specifics about the first one. I just kind of remember generally enjoying it, liking the feel, the pace, the banter, the performances were fun, good chemistry between characters, and very little stuck in my head about the plot. And I kind of suspect this is going to be the same thing. Now, the thing is, one might normally think that's kind of a big hit and a big detriment to something that is a mystery and theoretically is plot-driven, as mysteries tend to be. But honestly, a well-done mystery is definitely a story that will stick with you, for sure. But sometimes there's mysteries where what sticks with you is basically everything else other than the specifics of the mystery. So as long as it doesn't completely fall apart or fail to pass basic logic tests, it's good enough. And that's kind of what this is here. You know what's kind of funny to me is that I kind of forget how much I love Sherlock Holmes until I'm watching something Sherlock Holmes related. Until I'm seeing a good instance of Sherlock Holmes, it's just kind of like, yeah, I guess that's the thing I like. But then I'm in it with the Sherlock Holmes thing. I'm like, oh, this is so good. Like, I even went through a phase a couple years ago of like watching a whole bunch of old Sherlock Holmes stuff. And I'm not sure anything has ever gotten it perfect, because you got some that have a really great Sherlock, some that have a really great Watson, some that have a good Sherlock Watson dynamic, but the story's kind of or, you know, any number of things along those lines. But I'm not sure anything's ever gotten every component right, but I still have fun with these things because the parts that whatever given iteration of a Sherlock story or a Sherlock related story, in the case of Enola Holmes, whatever parts it gets right, I'm going to be here for. And in this case, it is the sort of the speed of the narrative, you know, going through and finding things and like, ooh, this, and that means that, and that, and that, and that. And some of that we get from Enola. Some of that we also get from Sherlock. Henry Cavill's a pretty good Sherlock. I dig him. I think he's really working for me in this part. And I'm still really liking Millie Bobby Brown as Enola. She is just fun, affable. I don't care for the romantic subplot. I figured that was coming because like they bring back the boy from the first, like I didn't even remember him in the first one other than he was the boy. He's back. Okay. And they move forward that romantic subplot. It seems fine. If you like romantic subplots, I hate them. So, but it didn't drag things down too much. And everybody who's returning is just still a good time. Sherlock and Enola's mother, Helena Bonham Carter, she's back. She's still a good time as well. And it just has that energy that I enjoy from this somewhat more younger pitched version of a Sherlock story. So the excitement of new clues, new threads to pull. It's there. It's there in the characters and it's there in the feel of the story overall. And that's all I want. I want to get excited as the mystery is unraveled by the characters, even if it's not the world's greatest mystery, which this isn't. But if they can get excited about it, I can get excited about it. And that, yeah, this gives me that. It scratches the Sherlock Holmes itch that I have. And that's, for me, is kind of all I ask. If a Sherlock Holmes related thing, whether it's something actually taking things more seriously, whether it's comically tinged, whether it's an animated spin on it like The Great Mouse Detective, if it can scratch that Sherlock itch that I've got at the back of my mind, I'm going to come away happy. And this definitely did. I haven't really talked too much specifics about the plot because there's a couple of things that are very spoilery that I want to talk about in specific. Before I do, though, I will mention in terms of new actors, David Thewlis, very well used. He is kind of the de facto villain for much of this because he's an investigator who's really pursuing Enola and kind of jamming up her ability to investigate. He does a really good job. We get Lestrade in this. I don't think Lestrade was in the previous movie. I don't remember him being in the previous movie. This is a decent enough take on Lestrade. He's a little bit more bumbling than I tend to like Lestrade to be, but he's affable enough, so that still works for me. But yeah, I kind of want to talk about, there's one major twist in this that I do want to talk about because I actually think it's really interesting. And I know from certain kinds of online personalities would get very huffy and dismissive about it, but I think it's actually fascinating and a really cool thing. So I want to talk about that now. So now we're into spoilers. You've been warned. Let's talk about Moriarty. So Moriarty is a woman. That's not new. That's been done before. That was done in the Elementary TV show, the one with Johnny Lee Miller, which I saw a little bit of, and I liked his Holmes, and I liked Lucy Liu's Watson. It was a bit too, at least in the first season, it was a bit too stuck in the procedural television template story structure, and I kind of got bored with that. So I didn't stick with it long enough to get a Moriarty, but like a female Moriarty has been done. A black woman as Moriarty, and especially with what they did here, because here's why I think this is actually a really cool, really clever, really interesting take. Those are not superficial changes. She has what Moriarty often has, that high intellect, that sense of toying with Sherlock, the sense that this is a game, this is an intellectual exercise. But she's got something most Moriartys don't have inherently, and that is anger, and not unjustified anger. Because not only as a woman, but as a black woman, she is absolutely stepped on. Not just underestimated, not just ignored, which is kind of how they get her into the story. And I figured the character that she was going to turn out to mean something. I didn't call she was going to end up being Moriarty. I didn't call that. But I did figure she was going to mean something because she showed up early on and at a few points and then kind of faded out of the story. I'm like, I feel like she's going to matter for some reason. But it's not just that she's ignored and underestimated. She's actively oppressed on multiple levels. And if you want a reason for somebody to turn to criminality and to find the fun in blackmail, theft, violence, someone who is denied nearly any wholesome venue for entertainment or advancement, yeah, that is a really cool way to motivate Moriarty. Because the general vibe of most Moriartys is just sort of as a flip side of Sherlock, which is, so with most Moriartys, Sherlock, you get the sense that he pursues mystery. He's not devoid of moral structure, but he pursues mystery because he needs something to keep his brain working. His brain gets bored real easily, and that keeps him interested. With Moriarty, the way he fends off boredom due to how high his intellectual processing is by getting away with crimes. But in both cases, it tends to just be largely avoiding boredom seems to be their primary driver. This is motivating Moriarty in a different way that I really, really like. And she is honestly the main reason that I hope we get another entry in this series. Like, don't get me wrong. I like Enola. I enjoyed her. I like Millie Bobby Brown. I like a lot of what they brought in. They bring in John Watson at the very end. He seemed nice. I'll probably like him, but the thing that they have done that makes me like, I want so much more of this is what they did with Moriarty. I think that's brilliant. I think that's a really awesome way to shift the motivations of this character and really, I was going to say add some depth. I'm not even sure that's the right phrase, but just give a background that gives a different reason for why Moriarty is this way. It gets me legitimately excited. So I really hope we get another one. I hope this does well because I want more of that. I want so much more of that. So That was the spoiler thing I had to go off on for a while. But Enola Holmes 2, did you see it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon's what pays the bills. And any amount you can help is of immense assistance. Even if you can't, like, share, subscribe also help me out. But don't worry too much about it. We take a relaxed attitude around here so you can come on back next time you need a break. And credits, that means I need to shout out my top Patreon supporters. Robin Moore, Zupin Lutfula, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Oliver B., Linda Walters, Emu Delkey, Leotha Boyd, Toy Loli, Becky Sparks, Renabi Likes the Poodle, Zach, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Adam RDL Taylor, Shay Lagourlay, Brendan LaRose, and TT. Thank you so much for your support. You can get your name in the credits too by checking out the rewards on the Patreon. You only tried to eat my earring once this time. That's much better.